All right, so I'm joined now by Priya, who is the Director of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion at the Seattle Art Museum, our neighbors just a few blocks up. What's up, Priya?
Good to see you. Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you for being here and adding so much vibrance to the set.
Oh, thank you.
Like you out here blinking it. I see Jake Grabrod has the wide angle. Look at these shoes.
Hey.
Got the custom kicks on and everything.
Thank
you need to come hang out with us more often.
I would love to. I've been cooped up for a year or so had to get dressed.
Well, you're looking sharp.
Thank you.
So let's jump right into it. Especially right now, and it's a lot of acronyms and EDI, DEI, and some everything else. But man, tell us, what was your path to Seattle Art Museum and your current role there?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So, I was born and raised in Seattle, and the majority of my sort of work and investment in community has been around equity-related work, educationally with American ethnic studies and cultural studies work, and then doing a bunch of work at the University of Washington at the Office of Minority Affairs and Diversity and in various arts capacities, and just in community, doing lots of community building work related to the arts at Lucid Lounge and in other spaces. And so it's just been sort of the passion and my life's work up till now. And so just being able to kind of have that combination of things within a job, one specific job, was something that really attracted me to the Seattle Art Museum 5 years ago. And so when I began there, my focus was around community partnership work, building out our equity team, which is an amazing group of staff members that from all different departments that come together as a team and did a bunch of seed planting work over the years around really centering equity, racial equity specifically, in everything that we do. And so the work has been ongoing, but for me, what really attracted me to SAM in the first place was that there was a position that, it wasn't just about talking about wanting to do the work, but investing in a position like this. It was a new position when I came in. And so being able to do that work for the last, 4 or 5 years. And then last summer, I was promoted to Director of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. So now I'm working across senior leadership and the board in this capacity, doing a lot of strategic planning work, working with lots of different leadership in different departments on what does it look like to be a more inclusive place that's welcoming to more folks, and what does that look like department to department and on an everyday basis as well as long term as well. So what can we do now, but also what can we do far down the line?
Right. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, is like, what does this role mean right now for Sam?
Yeah. So basically what I get to do is I get to be a convener, a communicator of all of the different work that's happening around equity and anti-racism work at the museum. So what's really powerful is that, from the top, it's definitely communicated that this is everyone's job. This is not just my job, but that this is all of our work. And in order for this to be effective and impactful right now and long into the future, we all have a responsibility. And so I get to be the convener, the communicator, and sort of a conduit for a lot of the different initiatives that are happening at the museum. So it could look like, working with leadership, coaching, consulting in different ways. It could be working on, communication to the public. It could be working with our curators around an exhibition. And again, building out those community partnerships, getting to talk with amazing folks like yourself about the work that we're doing, and just, getting to be a connector around this work, both internally and externally.
Right. And why is equity, diversity, inclusion, why is it? I mean, I guess I know why in a sense, but you just assume that museums, like, it's like everybody, we almost need to take this lens across everything in society and kind of adjust our lens. But when it comes to museums, why is EDI important? Why are museums basically having that correct lens in the way that museums portray community and community members.
Yeah. I mean, we have to. The whole intent around museums is to serve the public and to be, preserving and telling stories and history and perspectives, whether it's, cultural experiences, lived experiences. So it's really essential that we make sure that we're using this lens in every different facet, whether, when you're coming in the door and the folks that greet you, to the art that you're seeing on the walls, to the programming that we build around our exhibitions to create dialogue, conversation, and connection. And so it has to be a central point and the driving sort of foundation upon which we build everything else. Our mission is to connect art to life. And so we want to make sure that everybody is represented within those stories that are being told and that folks are able to tell those stories themselves and relate to it. I wasn't somebody that grew up going to museums much or anything. And so getting to come now and to create an environment and an atmosphere where I can come in or I can bring my family members in and they get to see themselves and their, cultural values represented and be able to have conversations around that. It's so vital to like who we are, and we have to make sure that that's representative in an accurate way to the folks that we want to engage with in our community and that we want to be able to feel more comfortable coming to the museum.
Right. It's almost 1 year ago now, this crime against humanity that they all witnessed, the slow motion murder of George Floyd. Tell us, how did the murder of George Floyd impact Sam?
Well, it affected everybody personally and professionally. Of course, like everybody else, we did put out a statement to reiterate our commitment to this work. And it was not enough to just do that and reiterate the commitment. This is work, we have been doing for a number of years, but it was really important to take this moment to really be able to invest even more so and without any sort of reservations that this is something that we're committed to and that is the central point of the work that we do. And so we did online virtual gatherings. We also a month or so later is when my position came to be my new position. We were able to work with local artists in the community. Kamisha Turner specifically, she did a mural for us that was outside the main doors of SAM. And that mural is actually part of our permanent collection now, which is awesome. Also working with, Vivid Matter Collective and Takia, and just, to be able to see and be a part of a movement in that way and to see art so prolifically like everywhere, right? Telling the stories. Of pain and also resilience. And so that was something that was a huge moment, I think, to really be able to centralize arts and culture and the importance of telling stories and telling our stories. And so that was a really big opportunity, I think, for us. And then also we started this, it was a 6-month equity task force involving the board members at SAM, staff members, and community leaders working cross collaboratively to really look into 4 different areas of the museum and how do we make sure that we are really building out a plan for equity within those areas. So it was development, it was curatorial, it was human resources, and communications. And so really doing a 6-month deep dive into that and coming out with recommendations for how we move forward, both now within current processes, as well as, long into the future, because we know that this work never ends and that we have to make a lifelong commitment to that work, both personally and professionally. And it was really a way of being able to collectively move our internal communities along in this work. And that recognizing, again, that it's all of our responsibilities, board members, volunteers, staff, all of it. So, and also what can we do now during this racial reckoning, during COVID, when resources are down, staffing is down, all of that. What's feasible? What can we do? And how do we make sure that we're building this out into the future long after any of us are here? So, I always think about this work of like planting the seeds. I might not necessarily see the tree, but I know that the seeds that we're planting now are making an impact, and that will continue to do so long into the future.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Now, what's going on right now at the SAM?
So glad you asked. So we have the Jacob Lawrence American Struggle exhibition happening. And that is an incredibly powerful exhibit around the retelling of American history. Tickets are going so fast. And it's here till May 23rd. So I would suggest folks get their tickets right now for that. We also have an incredible exhibition by the amazing heralded Barbara Earl Thomas, who's a local artist here. And that is just a really powerful exhibition. She uses cut paper and glass and lighting. And depicts quite a few folks and kids from our community. So you might see a few familiar faces within some of her pieces. And then also, excitedly enough, we're reopening the Asian Art Museum in Volunteer Park. That was our museum that had been closed for renovations for about 3 years, and we had just reopened in February, and then COVID happened. So we haven't been able to be open much, but we are opening this weekend for our members, and then at the end of May to the general public. So that's really exciting. And what I love about that is the whole sort of premise around the museum has shifted from geographic sort of categories to thematic categories. And so you'll get to see, spirituality or fashion from lots of different parts of Asia, but how they're connected. And I think that really just showcases our connectivity and community so much more than the separateness of location. So I'm really excited about that. And then this summer, we have our Monet exhibition that's coming, which, obviously Monet is a huge name, but this tells the story of Monet kind of along their path. As a struggling artist and sort of trying to make it, and how, trying to eat and kind of trying to realize their vision. And so that is something that I think a lot of us can relate to right now. And so I'm really excited for that exhibition as well. So lots coming up, also tons of virtual programming as well. But yeah, so just a couple of things,
I see. And what's the best way for people to get up with the museum website or social media?
Yeah, our website would be great, seattleartmuseum.org. Lots of, content on there. That's probably the best way to get tickets and to let folks know, because we are on timed ticketing because we are at reduced capacity. So that'll give you all the info that you need.
All right, good stuff. Priya, Frank.
Thank you, Amari.
Thanks for taking the time to join us.
Such a pleasure.